Hey guys, welcome to 10 Minute English with May. Today we're looking at the third writing and language passage from the 2017 January SAT. Okay, so first thing first, let's look at the title. Court Reporting Human versus Machines. So right away you should think about what is the author's attitude? Does he support human? Does he support machine? Does he partially support one or the other? And that is going to come out in the thesis statement, which is the last sentence of the intro, and of course in the conclusion again. And throughout the passage, you will see mostly positive if he's supporting one and negative if he's opposing another. Okay, so court reporters for years have been record keepers of the court, taking notes during hearings. Okay, so notes in this case, what adjectives should we use to modify notes? It has to be scrupulous, because scrupulous meaning accurate, careful, exact, right? You go through great length to make sure that it is correct. Okay, and of course, when you see super or duper, that is colloquial. That is not SAT. Same thing with spot on. And of course, you cannot take intense notes. You can take notes in an intense manner, like scribbling very fast, like crazy, but it is incorrect in this case. Right. During hearings, depositions, and other legal proceedings. So whenever you see and or but, you should think that, oh, should I be using coordinator commas because it is a list? Do I have parallel structure? Okay, and sure enough, in this case, we have a series of three nouns, right? Hearings, depositions, and legal proceedings. So we want to choose C, the ones with coordinator commas. Okay, so remember semicolon functions as period, so A, B, D are out. There is only one scenario where semicolon can function as a coordinator comma, and that is when the sentence or the list itself is heavily punctuated. But we won't go into that for now. Okay, so number 25. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following graph so we can see the title, salary comparison, court reporters, and other occupations. So court reporters fall somewhere in the middle, right? Should the writer make this addition here? So if we take a look at the sentence before says, court reporters, I'm going to type it out so I don't have to scroll up. Court reporters play a vital role in courtrooms. So they are relevant, they are important. Although machine, so do you see the although? This is the author making concession. Even though he supports human, he acknowledges that there are certain advantages to using technology. Okay, but his central claim would be people are still important in this case. But since we're talking about the importance of the recorder's roles, we're not talking about pay. So the answer for 25 would be no, because it's not discussing the role of court reporters, and the answer would be C. Okay, and let's move down. So in this paragraph, do you see these brackets with numbers? So you should be prepared for sentence order questions. Okay, so to make things easier, let's do it now. Sentence 6, which comes later on, says, however, with the rise of high quality recording technology, reliance on court reporters as record keepers is decreasing. So do you see the word however indicate there is a shift? And after however, we do see that court reporters, the reliance on them is decreasing. So that is bad for them. Okay, so let's start from sentence 1. Court reporters record spoken word in real time. Stenotype or stenography, which is referring to this stenography. A stenotype machine allows a person to type about 200 words. So we're still talking about court reporters per minute. The typed words. So do you see whenever you have these the, such, this, that, these, those plus noun, you know this is referring to the typed 200 words. So sentence 1, 2, 3, they are connected. The typed words are instantaneously translated onto a computer screen for the judge to view. And transcript is used later by people who want to review the case. So far, this is good, right? They record, they type very fast, and then it's convenient for the judge to view later on. But then in sentence 4, we see that digital audio recording is becoming more popular. So that is bad for people, right? It's good for tech, bad for people across the United States, with 6 states using only or solely audio recording. So we know that this transition, however, has to be put before the positive and negative shift, which is after sentence 3 and before sentence 4. Okay, and we can skip to question 26. For 26, this is simply idiom question, so you have to memorize it as a vocabulary. So in this case, we see that the machine records everything faithfully as it occurs and is not subject to human errors. So the answer would be A without the ed. To be subject to something, meaning you're prone to it or you are vulnerable to it, okay? So you cannot use preposition from or for. It's subject to always. Right. However, so we see a shift again. With the rise of high quality recording technology, reliance on reporters, and in this case, we have as, right? And reporters is plural. So of course we have to use as record keepers, plurals as well. Okay, and that is C for 27. Number 29, which best combines the sentences? So remember, when you're combining sentences, you want to be concise. So it means you want to avoid repetition of nouns or pronouns. You want to avoid passive voice. You want to keep the same relationship. And oftentimes, the most common way to combine sentences is to use a trailing phrase or an adjective clause, right? Trailing phrase include participle phrase or appositive. So in this case, champions of court reporting argue the opposite. And what did they argue? So this is very tricky because we know which one to cross out, right? D, their opinion, that is repetition. We do not use such that, okay? Grammatically, that is incorrect. And of course, when you want to use which is, the rule for relative pronoun is that it has to modify the noun before, but opposite is not a noun. So it has no antecedent to modify. And that leaves B, a dash followed by explanation. So this dash is the same function as a colon. All right, number 30, punctuation, my favorite. This is a free score, right? You start from beginning, read to period, and right away you see because, which is a subordinator, right? You can go and review your adverbial clauses. Because digital system record indiscriminately, you need a comma, introducer comma, because that was a dependent clause. So comma followed by independent clause. So if you remember, our general rule for adverbial clause is D, comma, I. Okay. And number 31, transition words. Let's look at the relationship here. Before it says the systems, digital systems cannot discern important parts and record everything. Afterwards, it says it indeed records everything. So this is simply a paraphrase. So when you're paraphrasing, you use that means or to sum up or in other words. Okay. Last two questions. So for 32, we see that a court reporter, however, so we're shifting back to court reporter, talking about the benefits, can distinguish, so people good, can distinguish between the words. Well, whenever you have between, you need to have and parallel structure. So between words and the extrinsic noises. Also, another positive, if a witness mumbles, a human recorder can pause court proceedings to ask the witness to repeat what he or she said, and the machine cannot do that. In some cases, digital recording, so remember we're focusing on the pros of people here. So when it's talking about digital recording, we know we are going to talk about its flaw or limitation, which is why the answer would be D, has led to the need for retrial because of indistinct or unclear testimony from key witnesses. So this is a common juxtaposition of, two things, pros and cons. And that is why whenever you see the title of the passage, it is important for you to kind of think, all right, so where is the author going with this? What is his general attitude? So you know whether you have to choose something positive or negative for a certain keyword. Okay, and that is it for today. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.